What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, I had a couple comments. People asked me to talk about this. So, um, shout out to Ticket TV. Shout out to Town Biz, LB, Polo Sports. They've all done videos talking about this subject, and they all make good points, man. Look. Everybody's not going to agree on this situation. And I respect everybody's opinion on this because this is one of those things where you can look at it from different angles. And look, you can definitely see Scottie. Look, for people who look at Scottie's motivation as shaky on this one, I can understand it 100%. Uh, Look, he has a book coming out due in November. Scottie has made a series of statements that obviously are to create some controversy, and that's drawing interest in that book because, um, look, you wonder through some of the statements that Scotty's making now whether it's in the book. So, yes, by Scotty saying what he said about Phil Jackson, you are wondering, is that in the book? Plus, he has this liquor out that he's promoting. So, and you look at the example of, I'm not saying he's motivated by Kwame Brown, but Kwame's another guy who was silent for so many years, and now he's come out and he's putting people to task. But yeah, you do wonder about Scotty's motivation. Is he doing this shit just to sell books, and he's not being authentic? Scotty's excuse, or at least his example for saying that Phil Jackson was a racist, basically he's saying that Phil has a resentment toward him for some reason. He's saying that the whole reason why that play was drawn up for Tony Kukoc was racially motivated. From what I'm gathering from Scotty is that he and Phil weren't seeing eye to eye that year, or whatever, for whatever reason. And I guess he's trying to say that Scotty, okay, he's trying to say that Phil was sort of in that instance trying to, get the message to Scotty that you're not the man and you never will be the man. Um, and I guess he's trying to say he picked Kukoc specifically to get under Scotty's skin. That's what I'm gathering what he's saying. Like he basically he picks Tony Kukoc, this rookie who had not been hadn't accomplished anything on the NBA level. Now over there, yes, he is a very accomplished player, and when it comes to Europe, but not in the NBA. But you gotta look deeper in this situation. Okay, you have to look deeper as to why Scotty might say this is racially motivated. You got to remember that back in 1990, I believe it was, Jerry Krause had gotten the rights for Tony Kukoc. And there was all this buzz about Tony Kukoc and how Tony was the next Michael and all this type shit. And remember in the 92 Olympics, he and Michael, decimated Tony Kukoc in that series, shutting him down. And I think in the first contest, they shut him down. Now, Tony did better in the next game they played against Croatia. But I think it was the championship game, I believe, right? But in that first contest, they shut Tony Kukoc down. So if Scotty has any truth in this situation, it could be connected to that. It could be connected to the fact that Scotty kind of resented knowing that he may not have really liked Tony Kukoc being there, and then you draw this shot up specifically for him to irritate him. You know, That's a possibility. Then he said there's some things in the locker room I'm privy to. I've heard him. I've been around him. Whatever. The thing that makes people suspicious is the timing, and I get that 100%. But I will say this: the posse comment that Phil Jackson made toward LeBron and his entourage. When you look at the fact that that comment, that term posse seems to be only confined to describing large crowds of black people, in particular black men. You never hear that term really used about white men, or at least not in a positive light. Now, you might hear it used in a cowboy movie, but it's usually referred to the black hats. You know what I'm saying? So, and Phil and LeBron James's entourage are usually immaculately dressed. They look when you look at LeBron James and his group. Uh, in most, especially in business settings, you're not looking at a Wu Tang Clan there. You know what I'm saying? But this is how I feel about this. Scotty could very well be telling the truth about Phil Jackson. I don't know because you look at the Bill Maher's, you look at a lot of these white liberals, these hippie types, these guys that smoke weed and they seem cool and all that, but behind closed doors, they can say some racist shit. If I'm not mistaken, if someone can fact check me on this, I believe Donald Sterling was a Democrat. And, you know, I believe that he appeared to have a lot of quote unquote black friends. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump used to be a Democrat, a supposedly liberal Democrat. So what I'm saying is, Malcolm X talked about this. Liberals are often even more racist than the conventional races that we see. It's just that they look at black people differently. They hide their racism. They're more sympathetic toward black people. They may seem to associate more with black people, but the white supremacy mindset still is maintained. But I do want to say this, though. I want to say this in closing because I want to be consistent. We often say when it comes to just the other day, when it comes to Chauncey Billups, and how a lot of times white people love to accuse black men of shit. You can just accuse them of something, and people believe it. For me to go harder on Phil and really truly like take up for Scottie, I need some more proof. Man. He needs to kind of give some instances. If he was given specific instances off the cuff, well, back in 1995, one time me and Michael were such and such, and Phil said this, that, and the other, and then this, that, and the other, and then this time, then I'm like, okay, all right, okay, he's coming off the cuff with this shit. It ain't like he's just, you can kind of tell when someone's lying and trying to make shit up. If you ever heard an interview, for instance, if you ever heard an interview with Faison Love, that shit sound made up. You know what I'm talking about. If you ever listen to Faison Love when he's being interviewed, it's like that nigga's lying. You know what I'm saying? He's just making shit up. But I just need a little bit more from Scotty for me to be sold 100%. Um, but I'm not going to say Scotty's lying, but I just need a little bit more for me to really like kind of go in more because I'm kind of still up in the air about it, you know, because something could come out. It could be in the book. If he's given specific reasons or instances where Phil is saying that he's racist. Now look, I know another thought could be, well, shouldn't have something have come out by now? about Phil being racist. That's my trepidation right there. Um, Tiki made a good point about Craig Hodges. Um, Craig Hodges never said anything about Phil in particular. But see, this is my mentality when it comes to white people. Um, and I don't normally like talking like this. Uh, I think that some white people obviously are more racist than others, but sometimes you grow to expect shit, at least on some level, if you know what I mean. Like there's always a degree of something there. Some people just more on various degrees. Some people, it's about average. That's what I expected. Some people, okay, a little bit less than normal. Some other people, yeah, that's probably what I expected. If you get where I'm going with that one. So sometimes, it's the shit you just expect. I've dealt with, white coworkers, and all of them, on some level, have exhibited some form of racism. It may not be as in my face. It may not be some shit where you're like, well, who the fuck you talking to? But it's more like, wait a minute, the fuck you mean by that? Is that racist? Fuck you, one of those situations. So that's all I'm saying. Tell me what you guys think.